The Samsung Galaxy S20 is Samsung's next flagship phone, which will be unveiled at the Samsung Unpacked 2020 on the 11th of February. Now the big question is, what can we expect at the Unpacked event about the S20 series? We will try and answer this question, so stay tuned for more. If you've not yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Last year Samsung released the S10 series, so we all knew Samsung's next flagship will be called the S11. But the king of tips, Ice Universe, said the Galaxy S11 will be known as S20. And it was confirmed by Samsung at the CES 2020. And now we know that the Samsung Galaxy S20 will be coming in 3 variants, the S20, which is the base model, and the S20 Plus, which is quite bigger than the S20, but have the same specs. And lastly the S20 Ultra, which have some mind-blowing specs. Design. On the February 4th, Samsung leaked the Galaxy S20 on its own website ahead of the launch. And these designs have been confirmed. Now up close, this is what it looks like. The S20 features a rectangular rear camera module, which is vertically aligned. And the front-facing selfie camera will be the same as the one on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10, a centered punch-hole camera. The S20 appears to have 3 camera sensors, with the S20 Plus and S20 Ultra having more. On the S20 series there will be only 3 buttons on the right side of the device, thus the power button and the volume rockers. And for the renders, it's time Samsung also say goodbye to the 3.5mm headphone jack. And that means there will be no headphone jack on the S20 series. But Samsung will definitely include a USB Type-C headphone, which is tuned by AKG. Now moving on. The S20 series will all have a curved display, like the S10 and S10 Plus, but the curve is less extreme than the previous versions. Also, the fingerprint scanner will be an in-display fingerprint sensor. And these are some of the official press renders of the Galaxy S20. Thanks to some leaks.
Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go.
These leaks show that the S20 and the S20 Plus color variants include Cosmic Gray, Cloud Blue, and Cloud Pink. But the S20 Ultra have been rumored to come in only 2 color variants, thus the Cosmic Gray and Cosmic Black. From these renders, the S20 and the S20 Plus looks much similar, but the S20 Plus doesn't look like the other 2 due to its arrangements of the camera. Now moving on to the specs, it's well known that the S20 series will have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 in the US and Chinese versions of the smartphone, and the Exynos 990 chipset in the European versions. The S20 operating system will come out of the box with Android 10 based on Samsung's One UI 2.0. Now to the display, the S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra spots a 6.2, 6.7, and a 6.9 inch display respectively. And they all have dynamic AMOLED display. They all support a Quad HD Plus and 120Hz refresh rate display, but the Quad HD Plus display is only available on 90Hz screen. If you wish to have the 120Hz display, resolution will drop to a full HD Plus screen. Both the S20 and S20 Plus have 12GB of RAM, with the S20 Ultra having both 12GB and 16GB of RAM variants. The S20 and the S20 Plus both have 128GB of storage, whilst the S20 Ultra have 128GB of storage, and 512GB of storage. And they all have expandable SD card memory up to 1TB. Now moving on to the cameras. This is where the S20 series steals the show. Both the S20 and the S20 Plus have the same camera configuration. Starting with the rear cameras, they both have 12 megapixels main cameras, 64 megapixels telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom, and 12 megapixel ultra-wide cameras. They all have the same selfie or front cameras, and that is 10 megapixel sensor. The S20 Ultra is the beast in terms of the camera. Here are the specs: 108 megapixel main camera, 48 megapixel telephoto lens with 10 times optical zoom, and a whopping 100 times digital zoom, and 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera. And these specs are pretty wild. Now moving on to the battery. The S20 will be having a 4000 mAh battery with 25 watts charger. The S20 Plus will also be having 4500 mAh battery with 25 watts charger. Whilst the premium version, the S20 Ultra, will be having a 5000 mAh battery with 45 watts option fast charge, which can charge from 0 to 100% in 74 minutes. Lastly, all these phones have an IP68 ratings. Release date, pricing and availability. As we have mentioned earlier, the Samsung S20 series will launch on the 11th of February, at the Unpacked 2020 event. They say that the device will go on sale on the March 6th in the US, and March 13th in Europe, from recent leaks. Here is the rumored price of the S20 5G variant series. The S20, thus the base model, will surely start from €900 to €1,000. The S20 Plus is also said to be starting from €1050 to €1,100. And lastly, the S20 Ultra, which will definitely be the priciest of the three, will be starting from €1,300 to around €1,400. The non-5G versions will be cheaper than its counterparts, and is rumored to be €100 less than the 5G variants. In terms of availability, a recent report from Korea notes that Samsung might release the Snapdragon 865 version of the S20 phones in more countries than the Exynos versions. The report states that Samsung might bring Snapdragon variants to more regions with the exception of Europe. That's all we've got when it comes to rumors related to the Samsung Galaxy S20 release date, specs, features, and pricing. If you would like to buy a phone in the Samsung Galaxy S20 series, you can let Samsung know. Simply fill out the pre-registration form, the link in the description, and Samsung will alert you as soon as pre-orders are available. In the United States and Europe, we have heard rumors that pre-ordering an S20 phone will earn you a free set of Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to pinch the like button. Be sure to subscribe to this channel as we will update it often with new rumors as they pop up.